Let's go make America all it should be again.
Welcome to the political revolution. Thank you all.
All right, fair and balanced to the other races going on the Democratic side. They still have a battle there, and South Carolina is the battleground today for them. It was for Republicans last week. In the Palmetto State, though, Hillary Clinton is heavily favored by some polls up as much as 30 points or close to it over Bernie Sanders. This is her base, a lot of her people like to say, and this, she says, is more representative of the Democratic Party. That's in the eyes of the beholder, of course, but a big backer of hers is Democratic Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee of the fine state of Texas. The Congresswoman joins us now. Congresswoman, thanks for taking the time.
Good to be with you this morning. Good morning.
All right, on Hillary Clinton, I mean, Bernie Sanders has been working very hard for the African-American vote. He's met with the Reverend Al Sharpton. It hasn't turned out big numbers thus far. Doesn't turn out big numbers in polls for him thus far. What do you make of just that?
Well, what I make of it is that the African-American community, as I heard before, is not monolithic. It is very diverse. But it also understands individuals who have been with them for a very, very long time. I've been in South Carolina for a number of days. I was in South Carolina in 2008. I understand these are hardworking people with a great history, and they understand the bread and butter issues that Secretary Clinton has been talking about for decades. Pay equity, women's rights, equal human rights, her fight for children, being in South Carolina, fighting against incarcerating young black boys in adult jails, fighting against segregated schools in Alabama. So it's about relationships. And then, again, this time around, she has been unabashedly unashamed of talking about the real issues that sometimes divide us. And as a woman who has worked in diverse communities, they feel comfortable that she is comfortable with diversity and that she can both feel their joy and their pain. But the bread and butter issues are what the campaign and Secretary Clinton have been talking about, and it's resonating. It's resonating among women. And I think that's important because it's not just South Carolina. This is a message that's going to carry Secretary Clinton to the White House and the Oval Office.
But are you worried, Congresswoman, that her negatives are very high, too? So, too, the Republican frontrunner's negatives, I should say. But the fact of the matter is a lot of people don't trust her. And it's something that Bernie Sanders likes to keep pointing out. Will that hurt her? Especially her Wall Street ties. She bashes Wall Street. She takes some big speaking checks from Wall Street. What do you make of that?
Well, one thing about it, probably the most vetted candidate in this campaign, bar none, Republicans or Democrats, is Hillary Clinton. Everything to be known about Hillary is on the table, starting from the time that she was First Lady in Arkansas, maybe even the time she worked for the Children's Legal Defense Fund. There will be a sufficient time as we move through this campaign for every issue of trust to be tested. But I will tell you from a personal perspective, and many who know her, we're not in any way frightened by any overview, review, and dissecting of Secretary Clinton.
But are you frightened by
frankly,
the fact that she has
a
veered pretty much extreme left on some issues like, well, the rich paying more, bashing Wall Street, bashing trade deals that her husband orchestrated? Are you worried that regardless of your own political viewpoints, Congresswoman, that in a general election, should she get the nomination, she would have to, like, dash to the middle to get out of that, and she might have put herself in a very, very far left hole?
Neil, I'm not in any way concerned, and the reason is because Secretary Clinton is a smart policy wonk, if you will, with a big, big heart.
Well, does she believe this stuff? Do you think she believes this stuff, Congressman?
Yeah, let me say this. Look at her work in Arkansas. You know what she did in Arkansas? She took an education system that was not treating poor people and poor families and poor children right, and turned that education system around to invest in children. Whether that's a leftist policy, it's a policy that invests in people. And what I would argue is that when she gets into the general election, whether it's business, small businesses, whether it's poor people, whether it's working families, whether it's people who happen to be those who are considered the multi-rich, I hope their goals are what is best for America. That's what she's going to campaign on. Leftist, moderate, it's going to be what's best for America. And she will appeal to progressives. I am a progressive. She will appeal to moderates and others without compromising her principles. Because what we have got to do is build on some of the very valuable points that the president's made, brought down the unemployment to now 4 to 5%. But we've got to create jobs, more manufacturing. Who's going to be against that? And turn right side up the financial markets, or at least the banking structure that relates and responds to all people. So on the trusted end, let me just finish, Neil, on that trusted end to say that she is the first viable woman candidate running for the presidency of the United States. I've got to think as a woman that there is something to her being the most scrutinized.
All right.
She's going to withstand that scrutiny. She's going to make sure that the American people understand that she is trustworthy.
Okay.
And all of the concerns that they have will be vetted in the public light. And I believe if she runs for the presidency, she ultimately will be victorious on her heart, her passion, her intellect, and her commitment to serving the entire country.
Congresswoman, thank you very, very much. I know you have a busy schedule today. We appreciate you taking the time.
It's so good to be with you. Thank you.
All right. Be well. Fair and balanced now to representative the other guy running in this Democratic race, Bernie Sanders. I'm talking about the South Carolina State Representative, Wendell Gilliard. He is backing, of course, as I just said, Bernie Sanders. Very good to have you, sir. You know, the Congresswoman expressed why African Americans and many others are supporting Hillary Clinton. You stand out as certainly a very prominent African American and leader on the liberal movement, backing Bernie Sanders. Why do you think he's having a difficult time with African Americans in general?
Well, really, I don't think he's having a difficult time. Here in South Carolina, we know that we had a big step to take forward when we're competing against a machine, the big giant in the room. I mean, this thing here is going on in South Carolina.
She's getting 7 out of 10 African American votes. Do you think it will be unlike that today when the votes are tallied?
I think you guys will get a different message.
Interesting.
You know, it won't be what you guys are putting out, and I don't mean you particular, but you know, blacks here in South Carolina, we're independent. We're not traditionalists, like the congressman said that we are. Talking about Congressman Clyde, but we can think for ourselves. Now here in the South, you know, we can tell the story. Where was when her husband was president of these great United States and she was first lady? Guess what? When you look at the statistics around the country, especially here in South Carolina, we knew that her husband supported NAFTA. That caused hundreds of thousands of manufactured jobs to leave this country, and particularly here in South Carolina. And then when you look at the 3 strikes law that was signed into law, that her husband signed into law, where was her concern about young black men with going to jail in mass incarceration? Where was the First Lady concerned? You didn't hear anything. And then you could run the list.
Right.
He described young black men as being super predators.
All right, so that's why you're sticking with Bernie Sanders. That I understand. We're coming up against this hard break, sir. I do want to thank you.